Hi, and welcome to Haunted AF, the podcast of real ghost stories told by real people. We are your hosts. I'm Julie Fisk.
And I'm Rebecca Black.
Coming up, y'all, it's Haunted House Week. Woo. Y'all, seriously, we've got some incredible haunted house stories sent from you guys. One out of Australia where you can even go follow the paranormal investigation on YouTube.
Nice.
Oh, God, we've got those life-size Barbie dolls.
Shut up.
Seriously. Blah.
But first, quick reminder that the holidays are rapidly approaching, and podcast merch is an excellent way to support your favorite podcast, like Haunted AF. And you can also show the people you love that you've been listening to them and you know what they like. We have so much cute stuff over at hauntedaf.com, our online merch store. But we also want to let you know that the National Park After Dark merch page is now up as well. But go look at ours first, please.
Yeah. They apparently had some real issues with their merch and had to stop selling stuff for a long time. Yeah. So they just launched it and it's all really cute stuff, but not as cute as ours. So go look at ours first. Okay. We got to share this email that we got from Christine. Hi, this is not a ghost story, but when you talked recently about iPhone glitches, I thought I needed to share my own weird, kind of eerie iPhone glitch. Whenever I call, say my landline or my office or other numbers where my phone number may not be programmed with my name, the name on the caller ID is my father-in-law's name. It's a bit odd when I'm trying to reach my husband at home and he sees that his father is calling. Some things to note. My father-in-law have never been on the same phone plan, didn't share a family plan, and in fact, didn't even have the same cell phone companies. Our cell numbers are also not similar. We don't even live in the same state. He was in Texas. I'm in Massachusetts. Even weirder, my father-in-law passed away in May of 2019, and his phone service was disconnected soon after.
Wow.
What do you
I don't know. I have something on my lips.
It's probably cat here. I'm sorry. My iPhone glitch started a year later during COVID lockdown and continues to this day. So yeah, not a ghost story, but definitely weird. Thank you for reading. One of your biggest fans, Christine. Christine, I do think that's a ghost
I do
story.
too, because I'm like, you already answered every single question I had about it.
Yeah.
Like that y'all were never on the same phone plan. You don't have the same numbers. Why else in the world would his name be popping up?
Yeah. And it's still happening. Like she called her house and got a screenshot from home just to show us that that's her father-in-law's name showing up to this day.
Yeah, I'm going to chalk it up as he's just trying to be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, definitely a ghost story, girl.
Watching out for you guys. We also have this one that came from one of our patrons, April. That's another perk of being a patron. You actually have easy access to us. So patreon.com/HauntedAF, $5 a month. Really easy. Anyhow, April says, I never listened to a podcast before Haunted AF. I actually discovered you on 96.3 when Hawkeye aired you, and I'm hooked. Yeah, Julie has been on several times.
Paid off.
I called once.
Yes, you did.
That up royally, by the way, when I called in.
Why?
I said everything I wanted to say was all wrong.
No, it wasn't.
It was. I was so mad. I was like, God, you'd think I had done radio before. Anyway,
I did think it was funny. You had us on speakerphone, which is like the first thing they tell you in radio is like, do you take us off speakerphone?
Yeah, I know. And I was
you were great. Stupid. No, you were great.
Anyway, so one night when I was in high school, I spent the night with a boyfriend. Ooh, scandal. We were dead asleep when we woke at the exact same time because someone was moving shoes around in his closet.
Ugh.
When we looked, we saw a black shadow bent over in there. We turned on the lights thinking it was his brother and nobody was in there.
Ugh.
A few days later, he appeared again, but my boyfriend was able to see him better. He described the man to his mom and she said, OMG, that's the man that used to live here.
I wonder if she really said OMG.
I know, right? Probably not. She'd be like, oh my God, that's the man who used to live here. That's my mom's voice, by the way. I apologize. Then she pulled out an old pic of the guy that she had found, and it was the same guy. Also, my daughter had one of those rocking horses that are attached to the frame with the spring so that you can rock back and forth. It would also make sounds of hooves clacking and a horse neighing. How annoying would that be as a parent?
That would be pretty annoying.
Years after my daughter stopped playing with it, it would randomly make noise. My mother-in-law removed the batteries, and you guessed it, it would still randomly go off.
Okay, that's
creepy.
That is creepy.
We moved it to the attic, but would still hear it going off occasionally.
No.
In the attic. Now I'm hearing muffled hooves. We told the kids there was a boy in the attic named Eric. And when the horse would go off, we'd say, oh, it's just Eric up there playing again. April.
Is that supposed to make it better?
That in no way makes it better. I would be like, why are my parents hiding a child upstairs? Is this our brother?
I just remember years ago, we had a similar story where somebody would like lay at night and hear the sound coming from the attic and she didn't know what it was.
Right.
And then she went upstairs and checked. Same thing. There was a little rocking horse up there. And when she pressed it, she heard the sound. And her quote was, "So yes, there's some dusty ass ghost child up in the attic every night writing this thing." I was like, yep, there it is.
I mean, at least he's having fun, I guess.
Okay, so get ready. We've got a couple of really long ghost stories. So y'all just bear with us. Okay. Settle in, go get a gummy, whatever. This one comes from Lynn. "Hi, ladies. Just found your podcast and love it. I'm about to give you 74 years worth of hauntings in several homes.
Ooh.
One house was over 250 years old to the 30-year-old house that I live in right now. I know this is more than you probably want, but I'll let you pick and choose the stories you want."
Amazing.
I know. Thank you.
Like, here's my list.
And Lynn, to be fair, we used most all of it. Picture this: 1953, little 3-year-old me in a 200-year-old farmhouse in Delaware, playing with my friend and his dog. He had black hair with a bowl cut and darker skin than me, and he had a little black rat terrier named Francis. I can still see him in my mind's eye today. I called him Ferdy, and I asked my mom about him 30 years later. She said, "Oh, Freddie was your invisible friend."
What?
He and his dog. I said, "No, I can tell you exactly what he looked like and what he was wearing." But then I realized he was always wearing the same outfit.
Oh, no.
Mom said one time we were leaving the house and I got upset with her because she slammed the screen door on his dog, Francis.
Poor Francis.
I tell you, to this day, I believe Freddie and Francis were real, probably ghosts. When I was 10, my folks bought a farm up the road about 30 miles. The first time my sister and I went to see it, the lady who owned it said it had been in her family for 250 years. In fact, the family graveyard was in one of the fields. We loved it. The doors even had the old-fashioned skeleton keys, but this house was haunted as so many things happened there to all of us. One night I was lying in my bed and saw 2 wavy full-size light figures on my chifforobe. I didn't know people actually said chifforobe.
I didn't either. You're fancy.
I checked for light sources everywhere, finally decided they must be ghosts. I would also hear my name being whispered in my ear in that same room. One night, my sister Dixie and I were home alone when we heard a big bang upstairs. We grabbed some weapons, a buggy whip and a fireplace poker.
Hey, those are good choices.
Yep, and went to investigate. We didn't find anything, but we noticed a metal upright hairdryer with a big pink hood was wobbling. Looked like somebody had knocked it over and just set it upright. Years later, we were sitting around the table and all started talking about the things we saw and heard in that house, but never told anyone. Things were often moved or hidden in places where nobody would go. And Mom said she once saw a ball of fire in her bedroom.
I'm sorry, say what now?
That's a lot, Mom. Jump ahead to the mid-90s. I was recently divorced and bought myself a house in a rural county near Yorktown, Virginia. A friend dropped by and I was washing his little girl's hair in the bathroom when I heard him yelling for me. I went out and he said that he had just seen a man standing in front of the fireplace. He thought it was the plumber who had just left and asked if he needed anything, but the man vanished. My friend practically had to clean his pants. Another day, he was sitting on our front porch when he looked at our boat, and there was Fred sitting in the back. Yeah, we called him Fred in honor of my childhood friend.
Sweet.
Fred would also turn on the heat in the guest room when the kids came to visit, although the thermostat showed that it was still off. I moved to Europe soon after that, but kept the house. And when I retired, my new husband moved back here with me. And apparently Fred is here too.
Aww.
In fact, the dogs play with him all the time.
Oh, that's kind of sweet.
We live in an area called Guinea. So I think he was a Guinea waterman and is attached to this land. So the Guinea watermen were actually like people who just worked the water. They like fished and raised oysters and stuff like that. Yeah, there was some really cool history behind them. Well, I'm glad that Fred stayed. So many other things have happened over the years, but I know this is already overwhelming. Oh, and I saw that you went to the 1886 Crescent Hotel in Arkansas. My husband and I were married there 10 years ago.
What?
Everybody got the biggest kick out of staying there and going on the ghost tour with us.
How fun.
I know. We were married by the fountain, and in the picture of us, you can see the face of a little girl up in one of the rooms. Thank you, ladies. Sorry for the link. There are so many more, but these are the highlights of my haunted life. Keep up the great work. And that is from Lynn. And so, yes, I have asked for the photo.
I was going to say, has she sent it yet?
She has not sent it, but I'm like, please send us all of these pictures of all these haunted places, especially the little girl in the window, which it could just be a little girl.
Totally.
I mean, but still.
It's still pretty coll though.
We'll pretend she's a ghost.
Thank you. That's what we should always do. Yep. Pretend it's a ghost.
Okay. This is
that your husband?
Yes, it is.
I was like, who's that
guy? He's out chasing squirrels, I think. I'm not even kidding.
That makes me laugh.
There's so many squirrels over there, and they eat all of his tomato gardens right there. So, okay.
What is she shaking sticks at him or something? Get off my lawn, squirrels.
Okay, wait. So this next story, let me just do a little introduction.
Oh, okay.
We got this one, and Rebecca and I were like passing it back and forth because it's just like, what the fuck? It's
a lot.
It's a lot, guys. So yes, settle in.
Yeah, because it goes from one extreme to the next. This is from Heidi. Hi, guys. I'll try not to forget anything, but this is all from an old rental we lived in during the pandemic. I can't even begin to try and describe the sheer terror we faced in this house. It all started when we moved in back in 2020. About 6 months in, my husband, who is a non-believer, started to see a full body apparition of an old lady. He didn't tell me at first and got so freaked out that he went to see a physiologist. What is the difference? I'm always going to have to ask these questions.
Well, this is out of Australia, so I had to look it up, and I think a physiologist studies more about how our environment is affecting our emotions.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of the same thing, but it's also like what is causing these feelings.
Gotcha.
I think.
Okay, cool. Just to clarify, that's all I needed. But he kept seeing her until the day I had my first experience. I was coming out of the bedroom and I saw a big dark shadow go past. I thought, surely I'm seeing things, and said nothing. Then one night, when Pat was at a friend's house and Oscar was in bed, I saw her. She was at the door where Pat always saw her, clear as day. I got up and I opened the door, and there was nothing. I was so spooked that I called Pat and I asked him to come home. That's when he finally told me he'd been seeing her too. We did a cleanse with a sage stick and thought she had left, but a few months later, my son's toys started going off on their own. Then candles and photo frames would be thrown at my partner even during the day. Most of the activity was at night, though, and in the kitchen. It would move chairs around and open the cupboards. It also pulled my hair in my sleep and sat on the bed. We spoke to a psychic, and she knew straight away it was an older male. She said the old lady we got rid of was actually protecting us, and since getting rid of her, this spirit is now at large. The lady was protecting them, correct?
Yeah, so he used the sage, and I guess kind of like
it sent her off instead of the bad one.
Right. Which I don't think she shows up again. So it's not like she's gone.
She's not gone forever.
Right.
She's just, lurking.
And one thing, a lot of this story, it's like she was journaling. So some of these, it's like it's happening in real time.
Okay. Makes sense. So things are still happening. Items fly off the coffee table, often in my husband's direction. Clearly doesn't like your husband. We've been told our house is a portal, especially our little boy's mirror.
Yikes.
That portal stuff gets me uneasy.
Yeah.
One night he was crying, so we went into his room and found him on the floor with toys all around him. That's impossible because he can't get out of his bed with the bed rails.
Ooh.
When Patrick picked him up, he noticed how freezing cold the room was. Then he saw the old lady in the mirror.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, like clearly it's watching.
Yeah.
Just this morning, I was going to the toilet and I could hear my son playing with someone. So I came out and clear as day, saw the apparition of a younger female in white. I screamed, and in the blink of an eye, she was gone. Our son was running around the house yelling, come back, come back. Oh, it's like his little ghost friend.
Yeah.
Patrick said, take Oscar and I'll cleanse again. He started in the kitchen, but something hit our glass door so hard, we thought it was going to smash. When I got home, I still felt uneasy. So my husband cleansed again, but I am beyond terrified. We have both been physically touched, pushed, and shoved, and have had so many things thrown at us. Things will also occasionally levitate for a few seconds before launching off. We have seen apparitions of full people in this house, not just glances. We had a woman who would stand at the lounge room door for ages. Even our dogs would bark at her, but she would disappear whenever we approached her. Our 2-year-old son also has spoken of the people who come into his room at night and play games with him.
I've got real problems with this one.
Same. They pat him on the head and they say things like, shh, it's okay. Don't worry. You're safe. I'm like, no. You're not. He plays with a little girl who apparently comes in from the mirror or the wardrobe.
Oh,
this is just getting drastically worse.
This part too much.
Lately, we have been finding a lot of blue marks around the house on the walls and in the wardrobes, like I'm guessing markings. The other day, Patrick felt something scratch him, and when he looked, he saw a blue mark across his shirt. Shut the frick up.
I know, yeah.
Jeez. Underneath the shirt, he had a large, fresh scratch. Also tonight, after putting our toddler to bed, we heard our monitor go off and a very deep, scratchy voice started talking to him. We ran to his room and it was freezing cold. He said his owl, which is the baby monitor camera, was talking to him. There were fresh blue marks all around his room and on his wooden toy box, which had the lid torn off. We are waiting on the paranormal team to arrive as we can't take it anymore. Yeah, you think? I'm truly so terrified and things just keep happening. They arranged to come out as soon as possible, but no children could be there, so I left with the kids. They arrived and set up the cameras, but the batteries kept getting drained and have to be changed. All of that is from Heidi and Patrick McGiffin in Australia, right?
Yeah. So
that is so intense.
Yeah, there's just like so much over and over again. And the frustrating thing is the paranormal investigative team did go out there and they filmed everything. So you can go and watch, but as is usually the case, there's not a ton of activity while they're there. You know, anytime people show up and they start setting things up other than like draining all the batteries and stuff, there's not a ton of activity. There are some things though, because I was watching, I kind of scanned through all of this, right? Because you and I'm like, show me something big. Yeah, it's got to be kind of big. But there is one shot. I think it's the little boy's room where there are some really creepy shadow type figures going through. It's worth checking out. So we're going to post a link to all of that in the companion blog.
I weirdly want to know more about the blue like marks.
Never heard about that.
No,
ever. And we've heard about ghost scratches a lot, but I've never. In fact, Heidi, do you have any pictures of that? The big thing, they've moved out of that house.
Good.
They are no longer in that house, which is great.
I hope to God somebody threw out that mirror.
Oh gosh, I know.
Or cover it up and put it somewhere where it should not be found or seen.
Or just give it to someone you don't like very much.
That too. I'm a big fan of pawning that off onto somebody else.
Yeah. So Heidi, we do need to know what happened to the mirror. I would love to see pictures of the blue check.
Same. I don't know why I say check mark. I think it's like a
because
Twitter
that's
thing.
Like it's a Twitter thing. Yeah. I just said the exact same thing. Yeah. So the blue marks, I would love to see that.
Is it? I mean, I wonder what it's done with. Is it like a marker? Is it a crayon? These are all things I need to know.
Yeah, absolutely no idea. But again, I'm glad that you're out of that house. Thank goodness. Here's the really, really crazy thing, though. As I was trying to edit all of this again, everything would just freak out. And for no reason, the colors on the script that I was writing would just change color for no reason.
Please tell me it didn't change the blue.
No. Okay. No, you can. I left some of it in
that
here.
Would make me nervous.
I left some of it in here in the scripts, like right here. Yeah. I would have to go in and like start all over and change the color. So I started leaving it when I realized, wait, this is happening too much and it's too weird.
Right.
And there were a few things that I would cut and paste from her email and it would come up as just like scattered all over the page. So there was a lot of
freaky deaky.
Yeah, a lot of really weird stuff. But guys, we'll keep you posted on anything else that Heidi sends to us.
Yeah. All right, guys. In the meantime, please remember, follow us on all of our socials because we've got some really great stuff to share this week, specifically photos that everyone sent of their haunted houses. You have got to see them. They're fabulous.
Yeah. And in fact, Lynn sent some really good pictures. And of course, you got to see the pictures of her wedding at the Crescent Hotel.
Oh, that's awesome.
Her super haunted house. So coming up next week, we've got a ghost who like to hang out at a XXX video store. No, you need to hear about that one. And it's the return of the Dead Pet of the Week.
Yay!
For now, though, send all your scary stories to hauntedafpodcast@gmail.com so we can use them all on the next Haunted AF.